I have power. Power, he says power. That's how you say it in Brooklyn, Midwood High. I have power and I don't want to do a comic strip. And that was in my head. So then I said to myself, why don't you call him up and ask him? And I did. And he said, okay, bring me some sketches. So I did. I brought the sketches to him. And then he said, well, maybe I could help you with the jokes. Now, Woody, as Dick has pointed out, is a very quiet, internal, shy man. When he said, the funniest man in the world said, I would help you with the jokes, I want to say, oh, yeah, Woody, that's great. What I said was, okay.
You chose right. But note that part particularly where Woody's memos. I hope he doesn't feel he's not suing you for betraying confidence.
No. What Dick is talking about when he said that you got into Woody's mind in the book. Mm-hmm. When I went to meetings with him every Saturday for years, I would take notes because even then my memory was failing. I had Al's something and I couldn't remember the last part of it.
Now wait a minute.
Now just a second. About a bump. What Dick was talking about is those notes that I took in the meetings tell how to develop characters and humor and so on. Now back to Dick Cavett.
Oh, and it's just a chance to see Woody's mind at work, a fine analytic mind talking about what humor is in this instance and in this form and what it should be and what it should not be. And it's just a rare treat to see something of him you would never see. Himself talking to another practitioner of the art of humor quite seriously and perceptively.
It's like looking in somebody's underwear drawer, things you wouldn't ordinarily see. No?
I don't see that at
all. Block that metaphor.
But then I don't look in people's underwear drawers.
Well, maybe you should.
Now, wait a minute. Why is everyone looking so pleased? It's kind of like seeing Dean and Jerry in their early days, isn't it?
Hey, lady! Anyway.
I worked for Jerry Lewis, and that has really nothing to do with our evening here, except that I was on the last year of the Ed Sullivan Show. I was still a new comic, and Jack Rollins, this legendary manager, got me on quicker than I deserved, and I did my routine. Now that I've mentioned Jerry Lewis, I have to do the... In it, I said, I worked on this disastrous Jerry Lewis show at ABC, I think, in fact, still paying off after decades. And I'd say, when Jerry came out, and he'd go, I wrote that. Ed watches your act at rehearsal, did. They say he's dead, and did then, on occasion. And then you went up to Ed Sullivan's dressing room, and he said, we'll take these things out for the show and leave these in. And he took out my Jerry Lewis. So you're among the handful of people who've ever heard it. Sullivan tried to keep it from you, but you got it. There are any number of reasons to get this book. It's the strips themselves, the artwork is quite funny, and it makes you think about... what a phenomenal character Alan is. Did he ever say I wasn't too crazy about that one?
Well, he didn't do that often, but I'll tell you one that he did throw out. He eats regularly at a restaurant called Elaine's. Are any of you urbane enough to know about that? It's up in the 80s, and it's where all the showbiz people go.
And it's in one of his movies.
Playwrights and movie stars and all that stuff. So I thought, wait, I'm going to go back. Roll it back. Woody and I and Dick had the same accountant, that crook.
Yeah.
He bought us cows that we lost money on, and his name was Al Bernstein, and I was up there one day to tell him, Al, if you were a good accountant and money manager, you'd tell me I can't afford you. When he gets a call, the secretary said, oh, Al, it's Elaine Kaufman, that's the restaurateur, on 2. He picks up, he says, hi, Elaine. Yes, there is a problem. I have Woody's April luncheon bill. It's $2,942.16. I'd like an accounting for that. What, Elaine? No, yeah, but, and he hung up. I said, what was that? He said, you heard my part. She said to me, look, your little friend comes in here with no money in his pocket, Okay? If he wants to do that and have a house account, that's fine, but I'm not an accountant, so he can go someplace else. So I realized that Elaine Kaufman is the only person in the world who can say no to Woody Allen, because when he does a movie, he conceives it, he writes it, he casts it, he directs it, he edits it, and puts the music on, and the people who put up the money are not permitted to see it until it's in the theater if he makes his budget. So the man is like a pharaoh. But I realized that Elaine Kaufman maybe is his surrogate mother. Who knows? So one afternoon I went up to Elaine's restaurant when the lunch period was over and dinner hadn't begun, and I'm sketching Elaine, and I'm sketching the restaurant, and I do a strip. And in the strip it's a long panel. And it's inside Elaine's restaurant. You can see Elaine's backward on the window. I'm very clever that way. And Woody and the Diane Keaton character are entering the restaurant. At the table, I've got Jackie Kennedy, Arthur Schlesinger, Jimmy Breslin, Dick Cavett, and other luminaries. And Elaine is sitting at the end of the table wearing her black Italian widow's dress with the little line where the breasts are making a crease and the little stubbles in her chin. And the Woody and Diane character, Woody says to the Diane character, look, this is the intra-dig place in New York where all the smart talkers are, and you just listen to the talk. So the talk I have is Jackie Kennedy turns to Dick Cavett and says, Dick, if you'll let me taste your asparagus, I'll let you taste my Brussels sprouts, and so on. So I went up every week with 7 strips, a Sunday page in color and 6 dailies, 6 strips. Now, Woody, very seldom, to answer your question, turned anything down, but he went through these and he said, let me hold this Elaine strip. I'm just not going to run it. That meant the next week I had to bring 8 strips because I was missing now a daily. So the next week I said, hey, hi, how about that Elaine strip? He said, I want to think about it. That was 1984. It's now 2009. I'm still waiting to hear if he'll run that strip.
Well, he obviously didn't want to offend me. Oh, boy.
That's not hard to do.
Another time we were walking, showing that he's not a joke cracker in the park, and he suddenly said, Cavett, can you think of anything that's getting better? I'm still waiting. That was 19 whatever.
I've got to tell you a parallel to that, because Fred Allen is a great hero. Woody Allen and Fred Allen. Woody was born Königsberg, and Fred Allen was born Sullivan. And Fred Allen, Carl Reiner told me this. Fred Allen used to visit your show of shows when they were doing rehearsals at NBC, and they would also visit Fred's show. So one night Fred visited their show, and they were going out to supper. It was dusk, and a motorcade came by, and Harry Truman was in the car. And Carl Reiner said, gee, Harry Truman doesn't look very well. And Fred Allen said, he caught it from the country.
Similar thought.
Exactly. Do you have any other questions, sir, you'd like to ask about the book? And Woody? How's that for a cue?
Say that again. Do I have any questions? Yes. What is the capital of North Dakota? No, I don't have questions about it. I just wondered if you... sorry?
Yeah, we knew that. He was also a great German.
Bismarck.
Who?
Bismarck.
Oh, Bismarck. Yeah, I loved his donuts. Where did the cartoon start in the sense that we know it, the strip? It seems to me there could easily have been a world without comic strips.
How did comic strips
begin? Did somebody have
mean?
the first comic strip?
Well, there were many.
The Yellow Kid?
Well, long before the Yellow Kid in Germany, Wilhelm Busch did something called Max und Maurice, and these kids got in trouble.
Oh, I had that as a kid, book as a kid, Max and Moritz.
You did. Well, the Katz and Jammer kids were based on that. I remember one of the jokes, and then we'll get back to this book because we better. The Max and Maurice went down into the wine cellar and they drank some of their father's wine, and then they realized, oh my God, the bottle isn't full. So they sought to fill the bottle. So